Hey guys, how you doing? It's Gavin here from StartAfreshpt Personal Training, and today's video is going to be about your macros, if it fits your macros. So there is loads of information out there regarding the best macro splits, proteins, fats and carbs and everything else, okay? And I found, to be perfectly honest, a really good way of keeping my weight under control. So back in the day, I was 20 odd kilos heavier than where I am now, and I did quite a long sort of program, and it's about 9 months all up. I lost my 20 kilos roughly, and what was really cool about that is that I had a diet plan and everything else, and I was really strict and got on my diet plan, and it was really good. So after that 9 months, my training was pretty well dialed in. Okay, I was training really well. I had a really good idea. I really understood how to exercise properly and everything else, and it was amazing. But it was big elephant in the room for me, and that was my nutrition. So I'd been following this nutrition plan for ages, fairly strict. And what I used to find was that if I deviated outside of that, I really had no idea what I was doing. So because I was sticking to a plan and doing what I said in the plan, if I ever went outside or went out for dinner or a coffee, I used to sort of ban food for myself. Things like muffing for a coffee, or go for a nice meal at night. And I used to really stress about it, and it used to sort of outweigh the good results. And I used to think, well, everything I've achieved, I can't maintain this. This is just too difficult to maintain. I didn't know what to do. I was so frustrated. And like my main desire at that point, I saw a photograph of myself, and I got really lean. I'd lost lots of body fat, and I was really cool. I saw a photo, and I was like, oh, I actually look quite skinny now, and that's not what I wanted. And I wanted to add some muscle in and get a bit more definition. And ultimately, I wanted to eat more. I was actually quite hungry all the time, and it was really difficult. I didn't understand how to move forward. So I'd achieved an amazing thing of 20 kilos, and you might think, oh, I'd love to lose 20 kilos, make me really happy. But actually, I got stuck. And being stuck is never a good place to be. So in true fashion, you jump on Google and you have a look what's going on. And I stumbled across something called MyFitnessPal for a start. That was really good. And I sort of looked at it and thought, well, it seems like a lot of work to track everything, and I really didn't know what to do. And I sat and thought about it, and I tried to play with it. And when I was looking at MyFitnessPal, it's hard to find how to put foods in, and it's all difficult. But back then, it wasn't as good as it is now. And I thought, well, I got two options. I'm like, I can either go back to my old ways, or I can try something new, start afresh, and try something a little bit different. It was really hard for me because I'd been doing this thing for so long, and to deviate away from that, I was really nervous about it. But I thought, hey, give it a go. What have I got to lose? I can go either back the old way, I can be miserable where I am, or I can just try something new and see how it goes. And that's what it's all about. So what I started to do was I came up with a plan. I thought, right, okay, I'm going to start tracking MyFitnessPal. So obviously I was weighing myself and everything else, and I knew a base point where I was. So I jumped on the scales, got my measurements, and started plugging this into MyFitnessPal. Then I started to track my food. And what was really cool about that was that I then began to understand how I was eating. And it was proteins, fats and carbs. And proteins, fats and carbs are just what your food is made out of, okay? And what I'm going to say, what I started to realize was there was no real bad foods anymore. They were just a budget. So if you think of your bank balance as being a budget, hopefully you're not in any debt, otherwise this doesn't really work. But if you got $1,000 in your bank account, the idea is not to spend $1,000 or more than $1,000. But if you were to say you could buy 10 items for $100, that would be $1,000. Or you could buy 3 bigger items for $330 to make $1,000. So when you come looking at food, if you apply that principle, okay, you can eat, let's just say, $100 worth of food compared to $300 worth of food. So $100 worth of food would be things like fruits and vegetables, and the lower calorie end foods. So potentially you can eat a lot more of those foods up to your budget, okay? If, for argument's sake, you were going to go for a $300 investment and you can equate that to a treat like a chocolate or a chocolate bar, then you could probably only buy 3 of those things through the day. So if you think about that, you've got a budget. So you can either eat a little bit more, of less calories, or you can eat less of higher dense food. So bear that in mind for a second. This is why with my fitness pal, if it fits your macros, works amazingly. Okay. So start to track it, and then I started to think, well, hang on, well, a carb is a carb and a fat's a fat. So, and I remember asking a question on the forum: what's the difference between a carbohydrate from a carrot and a carbohydrate from, say, a chocolate bar? And people really couldn't answer that question. And I worked that out right now. And basically, the carbohydrates from vegetables have more fiber in them. Okay, that's pretty much what it is. They're more natural. They've got less fat in, and they're very simple, so they're obviously less calories. But in terms of carbohydrates, you've got complex carbs and you've got simple carbs. So a vegetable is complex carbs and a chocolate is simple carb. But in actual fact, they don't really make that much of a difference, I found. Some people get a little bit sensitive to it and they have blood sugar drops and they start to feel a bit lethargic, but it never really used to happen to me all that much. So I knew that, let's just say an apple has about 25 grams of carbs in it, all right, and it's got vitamins and all the other good stuff as well. So I'm not taking the vitamins, I'm talking about food quantity. And a Tim Tam, let's say, I like my Tim Tams, is about 90 calories, and it's about, I think that's about 20 carbs as well, 20 grams of carbs as well. So therefore, I could have a Tim Tam with some food, and as long as I tracked that, it would give me a budget. So let's just say my carbohydrates back there are up around about 200. My allowance is 200 grams a day of carbohydrates. Well, all I've done with one biscuit is 25 grams of carbs. I've still got over 275 to go. So when you think of it that way, you can squeeze the foods in that you like without going over your budget. That's what I'm saying to you. So what I found with my fitness pal and tracking my macros, I was able to eat more of a variety of food, the taboo foods, if you like, and the non-clean foods that people seem to harp on about, and you can do that, okay? And that was really, really cool for me. So, with everybody, we want to be free. We want to be able to enjoy the things that we like. And when you go on strict diets and follow things where they only say eat certain foods, it's very, very hard to stick to those. But with this, it gives you a whole lot of variety, and you can do a lot more. Okay, so what I'm going to do quickly now is explain to you just very, very briefly of what it is. And I'm not going to work it all out for you because it'll take me a little while, but you can work this out yourself. Get on my fitness pal, and it kind of does it for you, and I'm going to explain in a sec. So back in the day, all right, people used to think cutting fat out was a great idea. And the reason they thought that was a great idea was because fat is 9 calories per gram, all right? And it's quite calorie dense, and people thought, if you cut this out of your diet, then you're going to lower your calories quite significantly. And that's true to a degree, you will. If you cut all the fat out, bro, so you need fat in your diet because of, for vitamin absorption, right? And feeling of fullness. Then all of a sudden now people are cutting out carbs because they say it's dangerous and it's too much sugar and everything else. And that's okay as well. And if you think about it, if you cut carbs out of your diet and eat protein and fat, then you're cutting out a whole food group and you're cutting out a ton of calories. Protein is quite trendy to have more protein, and I actually agree with that. Protein is really, really good because it's going to help you feel full, it's going to help maintain and build lean muscle mass. And it costs a lot of energy to digest. So protein is always good. So what I realized was after that, I'm with your protein, and we're going to assume you're weight training now and you're exercising. Okay, if you're not exercising, it's going to be a little bit different. But what the recommendation is about 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per kilo of body fat. Okay, so for me, per pound of body weight. So for me, I'm about 165 pounds ish. So therefore, my protein intake is between 165 grams a day and about 200 grams a day, roughly in that window, and that's fine for me. So providing that's constant and my calories are capped, so providing I get my protein goal in, the carbs and fats don't really matter to me, okay? They can go up and down, it don't really bother me. So providing this is constant, and I'm hitting my 165 to 200 grams of protein a day. So times that by 4, that's roughly 800 calories coming from protein. Okay, so I'm gonna put 800 calories. That's because per gram of protein is 4 calories. Then we're gonna go. So then, if my say at the moment I'm eating 2,500 calories. Okay, so I've got then about 1,700 calories to play with, and the 1,700 calories I'm going to divide up between my fats and protein, and that's quite a lot of food actually if you think about it. So with regards to that, okay, I've just done some workings out, and essentially what I'm going to do is once I get my protein in check, okay, it's going to be equal to 800 calories of protein, which then I said we've got about 1,700 left. What I then tend to do is split that up into two, okay? And so that will give me 850 calories each. All right, hopefully my math is right. So then if you divide it by four for carbs, it'll give me 212 grams of carbs a day. This is how you're going to fit this into my fitness pal. Then if I divide 850 by 9, because it's 9 calories a gram, it gives me 94 grams of fat a day. So altogether they will total up to my 2,500 calories, okay? And with that, I now have a cap. So on my fitness pal, I've got a cap of 2,500 calories. Then the only thing I care about really is this. These are the numbers I don't care, right? They're just there, and you can put something in just to keep it there. This is probably going to be the ideal for you, right? And so for me now, it doesn't matter when I plug my food in. And what's going to happen is every food I put in, it'll slightly decrease each one of these, okay? And depending on what the food is, so if I was to eat a very high protein food, most of this would come down. And it'd be very little fat or very little carbohydrates. So then, once I start going through the day and I start looking, I can start monitoring this, okay? So if I eat lots of protein in the morning, and I got lots of fat and carb, then I can afford to eat some more fats and carbs, whether, you know, I'm not saying go and eat tons of junk food, because that isn't what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is that you need to predominantly eat healthy, but you can slip in some of the treats that you like. Okay, so then let's just say morning coffee, and I'm gonna have a date muffin. It's one of my things. I like a date muffin. So I'm looking at about 50 grams of carbohydrates, and I'm looking at about maybe, I don't know, say 15 grams of fat. I'm still allowing myself these budgets, okay, so this is all going to start coming down. And when you keep doing that, then you're going to realize, so providing your protein is in place, your foods around your carbs and fat, I feel, and personally it doesn't really matter. I can have one day with it, I'm taking in more higher fat and lower carbohydrates. It doesn't matter, because because fats and carbohydrates are energy sources. And providing you're not, even protein to a degree, but we're looking at these for energy sources. So if you got a bit higher on fat one day and lower on carbs, or higher in carbs one day, lower in fat, it doesn't really matter, because they're just energy sources. And as long as your calories are in check, your overall calories for the day, and your protein is right, the rest of the stuff you can fit in. So a lot of people will say, reduce your carbs and higher your fat. It doesn't really matter, okay, because the energy sources, so they can alternate up and down, so you don't need to be as strict with your diet. As long as your calories are in place and your protein's in place to build in lean muscle, maintain your muscle, the other stuff can jump up and down a little bit, okay? And that's the whole idea. You want to be flexible, and it's been amazing for me to do that, okay? And it works really, really well. So when people say go no fat or no carbs, what they're really doing is, and people say it works for me, I lost loads of weight, I've eaten too many carbs. Think about it. If you were to cut out, all right, let's grab my. If I was to cut this out, carbs out, I'm saving myself 850 calories. So of course I'm going to lose weight, because I've reduced a whole food group from my diet. I'm going to lose fat, because I'm now 850 calories less than I was. If you were to cut fat out your diet, it's exactly the same thing. It's 94 grams of fat out your diet, 850 calories. Of course you're going to lose weight. Wouldn't it be smarter, and wouldn't it be better to eat a variety of foods, be flexible with it, not cut out anything, just have everything in moderation, and you can enjoy the foods you like, and you're still going to lose weight. It's the energy balance, guys. You don't have to. It's not too difficult to understand. So what you're going to find is, if you decide, like I did and I have done, is to blindly follow a plan, which is it puts you in a massive calorie deficit, you're going to lose weight. But what happens when you decide that you want to change, or when you're sick of that diet and you want to add calories in, you've got no idea how to do it? If you go with if it fits your macros, and if you start logging things on MyFitnessPal, what's going to happen is you're going to open up a whole new world of what you're doing, and you can enjoy some of the foods that you like. And I'm not saying you're going to be able to eat junk food at McDonald's all day long, because I tell you what, if you start smashing that stuff, your budgets are going to blow out. Not only that, they're not very nutrient dense, which means that there's not much fiber, there's not many vitamins in them, alright? So what I'm saying is that you can sneak in little treats here and there as part of a healthy diet, and that is exactly right. And when I say healthy diet, I don't look at healthy diet as just a physical thing. Healthy diet needs to be healthy mind as well. You need to, not be stir crazy. You need to get away from the scarcity mentality where I can't eat certain foods, they're so bad for me. At the end of the day, all food is simply proteins, fats and carbs. It's how you distribute them within your budget is going to get you the results that you want, right? So I've been there and done it. I've stressed out and struggled and done all the things, and I tell you what, this is by far the easiest way. It might sound a little bit complicated, but get the app, start tracking your food, weigh your food as well to some certain degree, just to get yourself into the scheme of things. And I promise you, as soon as you understand how many calories you need, and I did a video on basal metabolic rate yesterday. I'm going to chuck that in below so you can look at that. And when you start understanding that your calories, your carbs and your fat are essentially energy sources, and they can be manipulated up and down, so you don't need to be rigid, or your body doesn't know that, you can only eat 200 grams of carbs or only 90 grams of fat. All it knows is calories in, calories out, okay? And you can influence it by, doing this sort of thing. Once you understand that and you start practicing it, your weight loss is going to rocket, okay? You're going to have a brilliant, amazing results. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, flexibility is key. I want to be able to go out and have some ice cream if I want. I want to be able to go out and have a nice meal with my family and not worry about having chips and the bread and the burgers. Because I tell you what, it used to drive me nuts. And now, I'm still lean, I still hit my goals, and this is how I do it. I just track it all. And once I track, I know if I start to go over, then I sort of pull it back a bit. Or if I go out and I haven't got a lot of fat left in my budget, or haven't got a lot of carbs left in my budget, then I'll choose a different option because I'm already hitting my budget. And that's all it's about. So instead of going out and having a big massive burger and chips, I'll have a salad, because that's what's going to fit for now, because I've already topped out my stuff before. So that's pretty much it for now, guys. Bit of a longer video, 18 minutes, but I promise you, if you can start doing this, you're going to find things a lot easier, okay? Like I said, get MyFitnessPal. It's going to pump out some numbers for you. Not that great, to be honest, but just try it. It's a good start point. And then you can manipulate and play with it as you go, okay, depending on the results you're getting. And if you're not getting results, then you need to reduce your calories slightly. And if you get really, really good results, add some calories in, okay? Then you can diet on the highest amount of calories that you possibly can, which I'll do in another video. But anyway, that's it from me. If you've got any comments, leave them below. Really, really like to hear your feedback. If you've got any questions about it, let me know, I'll answer. And like I said, guys, start afresh. For me, this was starting afresh. This was a game changer for me, okay? And like I said, if you don't start afresh today, how will tomorrow be any different?